Right, hello traders, it is the Wonder Kid. A warm welcome to this video. Today's video, guys, I'm going to talk about something that is very, very important as a trader, and I think this is definitely aimed for the early traders and the people that are trying to get into the trading game and trying to find consistency. And it is talking about handling losses. Right now, one of the things that even experienced and seasoned traders will tell you is that you'll have to be able to handle losses. So ultimately, you will have to learn how to become a good loser. And this is especially true when you're playing the probabilities game. I know for myself, my strike rate generally is lower than 50%, so I have a lot more losses than wins, but a lot of my losses are significantly reduced. They're not full 1% losses, but also when my winners come, they aren't capped. Like, of course, as you've seen, like I use a trailing stop loss, I manage with the trend. So of course, my winners can go on to whatever percentage they can make. And there's sometimes that they actually go on to actually run in profit like 6, 7, 8% and come back and take me out for about break even or even a full 1% loss. But again, that is completely fine. And that is what it's all about when I'm saying becoming a good loser. And to be honest, looking back at my trading journey so far is that I know at the very beginning when you become a trader, you're not programmed to lose. And whenever you take a loss, essentially, you're basically going to kick yourself because that's how we've not been programmed to do that. Remember, when you win in life or when you win at something, even if it's a competition or whatever it is you do, you feel happy, you feel elated. You're like, yes, okay, I managed to do well. Of course, when you've taken a loss, normally you either like kick yourself or you're like, okay, I got to improve in this and that. And that's fine. And I completely get that. And I think when it comes to trading, whenever you're taking losses and you have a string of losses, which will happen, and very early on, you really are going to kick yourself emotionally. I remember, like, even on my early stages of doing FTMOs and learning the strategy that I use now, like, I had to be able to take the losses. And to me, like, the only option I had was either quit, which was never even an option, to be honest. It was just to continue. Like, I would be so emotionally frustrated with myself saying, oh gosh, why am I taking all these losses, right? But ultimately, the only thing you can do as a trader is check if it fully fitted your plan, which is why I say backtesting and making a solid plan is really important. And even as a trader, as you grow on and you start to become better and more seasoned and you get used to the losses, there's no denying about how good you can become in terms of your strategy. You can definitely like continue to backtest and see different ideas and see new kind of flows of the way the market works and likes to move depending on the pair. So ultimately, you will be taking losses. So the question is, how are you going to become a good loser? It is the most fundamental thing about trading. Becoming a good loser is what makes you the winner. And I think for me, one of the things, like I said in my experience, is that I had no choice. Like for me, of course, this is the thing I love doing. This is the thing I always do. I'm built to do this. And even through the early losses that I had, I was kicking myself so much. But nowadays, it's more, I don't really feel much at all. I just know it's playing the game for the long run. For example, I know that I would have a string of losses, but then I would look back and remember like even the actual wins I had, not even in the live markets, but in the demo accounts that I used back then. Like you always have to look back even when you are in a string of losses. And even if you start off trading in the live markets with a string of losses, the only thing you can do is actually check if they were to your plan and stay in the game till you start hitting some good winners and seeing that consistency, okay? So that is a question. My question to you is, how are you going to become a good loser? Now, there's many things you can do. Whenever you take a string of losses or some losses, especially early on, you are going to be emotionally like kicking yourself. So for me, if I like to exercise, so for example, that's something I would do. If I actually do it daily, so it doesn't even matter. Even if I'm taking winners or losses in a day, I will still be exercising. That's something for me. I like that. That's kind of my outlet, the way I like to stress relief. Other people like to smoke. Other people like to vape. Other people like to read or go on a walk. You can do any of these things, but that is a crucial question that you need to answer. There's a quote that I read earlier that was to do with traders, and it was essentially this: traders are mental athletes. And I think that's a really, really nice way of putting it. Mental athletes is a key word. So it's all about taking care of yourself mentally. How are you going to do that? So that essentially whenever you are taking these losses or even taking the wins, that you're able to come back to neutrality in terms of your emotions. It is one of the biggest things in trading. And for me, the way I like to visualize my kind of wins and losses is that even if I'm in a string of losses or string of winners, I just know that in myself, I'm thinking of the long term. Like the equity curve, even if it's like, okay, one good win and then a few losses coming down a bit, then another win, few losses coming down a bit. Ultimately, if you're thinking long term, it should be at the very least linear, but it should be exponential because of compounding, right? The equity curve should look like that, or on the other way, it should look like that, okay? It should look like that over the long term. So remember, guys, whenever you're hitting a string of losses, think about the long-term game, okay? Don't try and kick yourself if the trade fits your plan and you're like, oh gosh, it fits my plan, but I've seen like 3 of these losers recently, maybe it doesn't work out. Well, that's not true. You have to check over a large sample size if that kind of trade works out, okay? So just remember that, guys. Today's video was just a kind of psychological one, essentially letting you guys know, of course, trading is about being a good loser, visualizing for the long term, and with experience, you of course get used to the losses more and more. And I can imagine that this video is aimed for the early traders that start to feel the emotions a lot. So when you start to do that, just really try and get into the habit of doing something that is relieving for yourself, either physically, like for example exercise, or just something that will help you take your mind off things. Even if it's sleep, no matter what it is, just do something where you're able to take care of your mentality, because like I said earlier, essentially traders are mental athletes. It's a really nice way of putting it, okay? So just remember that, guys. If you're ever experiencing losses or any kind of psychological challenge earlier on in trading is not like a usual kind of competition slash living. It is basically, because it is all about handling losses. Like whereas if you play golf, even in golf, like it's how you handle yourself, but of course the aim in golf to win. Same in football. The aim in football is to win by scoring goals, right? In trading, the way to win is to be able to handle the losses for the long term. So it's a bit contradictory to the usual, but with practice it comes, and with understanding how you take care of yourself mentally is very, very key. Like I said before, for myself, I like to exercise, I like to work out, box, skip rope and things like this. That helps me just to keep fresh, keep fit, and also try and prioritize sleep, which is something that I'm trying to do a bit more and more nowadays. So just remember that, guys. That is my question to you guys today. Take care of yourself. You are mental athletes, but essentially, how are you going to how are you going to become a good loser so that you can win in the long term at trading, okay? Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments about this video, please feel free to message me down in the comment section below. But for now, don't forget to hit the subscribe icon. There's plenty more great content to be coming. If you haven't checked out my price action analysis videos or my psychology videos that are very, very important, then please check them out on my channel. But for now, have a great trading week. Take care and peace.